So I have a textbook here, and this textbook is what I usually use for my student in Java because it's quite simple and easy to understand, and it contains everything you actually need to know, the fundamentals of Java programming. So there is an e-copy PDF that you can download online. Just type 10 Java 2 PDF, you will find it. You can download it. And if you want to just go straight, just like I'm going straight here from the trinket.io, if you want to just access it directly from here, you can also do that. Right. So we will briefly touch on today, and then on Saturday next week we are not going to do so much, and that's why this textbook will be available for you, and you will have an assignment to also go with it for the week. It means there will be a lot of doings on your hand to be able to understand Java programming language. However, we explain the basics in class. Okay, so talking about the basics now, I have moved on to chapter 2. The basics of Java programming languages when it comes to variables and operators. Let's see how that works. So variables in Java programming, or variables generally, right, talks about assigning of space in the memory of a system. All right. So when you have usually when you declare a variable, you identify its data type, and then you give it a variable name. For example, int x here is saying that x is the name of is the space in memory that is of data type integer. So declaring of a variable means what? You are saying integer x, or string message, or what that. Okay, so that's declaration. Let's see. So we created this project yesterday, right? I called it QA Fit Automation class with this package. So let me start by saying I want to create the first, call it Java classes, Java lessons. Okay, so I'll call this Java lessons, and inside this Java lesson, I will talk about, because today I'm talking about variables, um, and operators and logic and arithmetical operations. So we are doing more today. So I will just call this variables, variables. Okay, let's separate the classes. Got this class variables, then I'll create another class for the other one. All right, so talking about how you write code in Java. mm, So you have something called package here. Your package, as you have seen the way I've created it, is very simple. You just say new create package. Now, this package consists of all your classes, right? It consists of all your classes. And in every class, you have methods. In every method, you have block of codes. I will say that again. So you create a package first. And inside every package, you have your what? Classes. Inside every class, you have your methods. In every method, you have your what? Block of codes. Now, there is another thing to note. When we get here, we will talk about it, and that is libraries, Java libraries, the import and all of that. But we are not yet there, so we won't talk about it. So, looking at how this you write syntaxes of Java, the first thing you identify here is what? The class name. I created this class, I called it what? Class variables, right? That is the class name. Now, in the class name, Like I said, you should have what? Methods. Now, the first method that we identify in Java is called the main method. Now, there is a way you write the main method, which I will explain now. You call it public static void main. Okay, and then you have your string. Somebody saying something. Somebody saying something. Okay, now you have your public static void main. Now, what that means is, let's start from the main. This main is the name of this method. It is called the main method. All right. And then this static is telling us the kind of the data, the kind of return method, right? The kind of return method and the data type of the return method. So we have void saying this return method, there is no return method for the main method. There's no return data type for the main method. But this public shows that is an access modifier. Access modifier is saying, can I access objects or variables within this method in the same class or outside of the class? By calling it public, it means that this method will be accessible inside of this class and outside of this class. But if I should call this private, it means that this method is only accessible within this class and you can't access it outside of the class. When we get to methods, we will talk about it. We'll explain it more. Now we are talking about variables, but of course, we can't talk about these variables without talking about the main method in Java, which everyone should know. Now, there's another thing we mentioned yesterday about the print statement, right? So, system dot out the what? Print line. So, there is print line, there is print. There is print line and there is print. So if you are saying print line, it means that you are not expecting, it means that you are expecting a line after this expression, after this print statement. But if you use print, only print, it means you're not expecting an extra line. So let's see if we can get the difference here when we execute. Now, once you execute your code here in IntelliJ, you already see how this thing is being picked, right? You can also execute it from, I don't like the way, can I drag this thing out? Okay. So you can execute it from here. Make sure that this is pointing to the right method. So we have system.out.print hello world. This is what hello world. I'm trying to take time to explain the fundamentals of how you code Java programming. Okay. So we have hello world here because it is print. Now, if I put this as print line, you might not really know the difference yet until we start dealing with other kind of statement. Let me say I write another system.out.print line here. And I think this one we explain it better. So I'll call the first one print. I'll call the second one print line. Okay, so I have hello world print, hello world print line. I think I've executed it right. Okay. Yeah. Now you see what I'm talking about. There are two hello worlds. The second hello world decided to print on the same line as this because it is not expecting this one to be printed on another line. All right, it's not expecting a new line. But when it comes to print line, it will do what? Assuming this is print line, what will it do? It's going to separate each of this. Let's see. So this is just the basic of the print statement. All right. So experiment on that on your own. Talking about variables, let's talk about variables. Variable declaration. I was trying to explain the variable declarations the other time. Going back to this textbook here that you see, I have integer x string message. So like I said, is just a space that is being allocated in the memory. Look at it. A variable is a named location in memory that stores a value. It's as simple as that. So we have a named location. When you say you are declaring a variable, you are saying something like the data type, right? And then the named location. Okay, that's the declaration. But there's something also called assigning value to a variable. Okay, what this means is that the named location will have a what? A value. Okay, now you can either do it like this, or you come here and say int a equals to 10. Now what you have successfully done is you have both declared and assigned, which is what we call instantiation. Okay, the very first time you assign a value to a variable or to a named location, we call it what? Instantiation. All right, you have assigned this 10 to what? Int a. Now let's assume that this is not a, this is a different variable, this is b. All right, so you have assigned a value to a variable. Now let's say here, instead of writing instead of writing um that, I can say b equals to 20. Aha, as I wanted to. Okay, so this will give an error as we cannot assign value to a variable outside of a method. Okay, so let's do that. So what I was trying to do is, if you have already assigned a value to this named variable here, and you want to give it another value, instead of 10 you want a 20, then you can come here and say b equals to, which is what I was trying to do, make main a static variable, static int b, and int b equals to 20, right? Now let's go back to our textbook to see what we are talking about. Now remember that we have something called string, integer, in fact float, and other things. This takes us to data types. All right, data types. Talking about data types, okay, yeah. Talking about data types, you have seen integers and how integers are formatted. So we have integer 0 to 10 or to 100 without the decimal. All right, we have the string that has what? The quotation. This one here is what? A string. We also have the floats. All right, we have the float talking about the decimal point and then numbers after the decimal point. Okay, so that is a data type called double. Example here we have double pi equals to, your pi is always 3.14 something something something. So that is a float, a floating point number. So in Java you just call it what? Double, the variable name. All right, that is that about variables and all. Let's look into there's another one I want to look into. Is it this one? Not no scanner yet. Input and output, conditionals and logic. Operators. Operators. Is it this place? Not specifically operators. But I'm not sure if I'm in the right chapter. Okay. Okay, don't let us jump. Let's just do operators is in this page, right? Somebody send a message. Is there someone that is not hearing me? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you're audible.
you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so operators. Okay, so let's talk about these operators. I was looking for operators before. It's in this chapter. So yesterday we talk about there are arithmetic operator, just like in your mathematics, the addition sign, the subtraction sign, the multiplication and the division. So you can see this one is what, this addition, this is multiplication, this is division, and then what other thing? Another thing is the addition is not the same as concatenation. So let's explain that very well. Now, for example, um when we say system.print line, this kind of out print line, this particular print statement here. Even as print statement here, the very first operator here, which is addition, is an addition, is not a concatenation. But the second one you see here is a concatenation. The way you will identify the concatenation from the operator is when you see the data type. The data type here and the data type here are the same. This is integer. You can add it together and you will get your 3. But can you add your 3 to a string? No. So the data type here is an integer. The data type here is a string. At the end of the day, what you are doing here in between is what? Concatenation. So the solution, the compiler should give you what? 3 LO. That is what it should be. 3 concatenated with LO. However, let's go back to this one. There is another print statement here. We have LO, and then you have another one here, and then you have 1 plus 2. Okay, so this brings us to talk about what happens in mathematics when you're talking about board mass, the flow of execution. All right, we will get there. We have LO and we have 1 plus 2. So what happens, the same way you worked here, you discover that the data type between LO and 1 is different. This is string, this is integer. Can you see my cursor? See the way I'm highlighting it. So this is string, this is integer. So you cannot add, you cannot call this an addition. It is definitely what? Concatenation. And then but between these two and this one is what we call what? The addition sign. Why? Because this is an integer and this is an integer. And then you have your 3. So what do you think will happen? LO3. That's what it will print. So, hello. Okay. Okay. So we are wrong with the second one, but we are right with the first one. The first one says LO, three LO. That is 1 plus 2, and then concatenated with LO. And then the second one says LO 1, 2. So what that means is concatenation happened for the entire three. So I think it is the direction of flow, right? Let's go back to our textbook. I think I remember now. This one, because it is at the extreme end, this is left, right, and this is right. Okay, so when your string is on the right hand side here, and you see this sign, it is what? The concatenation. It is not an operator. But when it is coming from this end, then it means that you have to perform your operator first before you concatenate. Let's see what the textbook says. Um, yes, Java executes these operators from left to right. In the first line, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 plus LO is 3LO. But in the second line, LO plus 1 is LO1, and LO 1 plus 2 is LO 1, 2. So it is the flow from what? From left to right. So that's why we're able to get 3LO. But if you are coming from right to left, then it's be the other way around. So yeah, it's better to understand how this operates. So when it comes to operators, it's the same for addition. Mathematics and addition in Java here is the same. Multiplication is the same. Division it's the same, except for the modulus. The modulus in mathematics, where is even the modulus here? Modulus. Okay. Okay, so let's explain the modulus. I don't know why I'm not saying that there. Okay, so talking about the modulus here, the modulus operator, when you have your something like this, so the percentage, this sign in mathematics is what percentage, but in coding, in Java code here, it is what modulus. I think is also the same in Python or C sharp or something. So you have the modulus. We say 10 modulus 3 means 10 divided by 3, remainder what? So it is the remainder that it becomes what? The that becomes the value of the modulus. Okay, so if you say 10 divided by 3, you have 3, remainder of 1. So that is the value of this print statement. The value of this print statement here should be 1. All right. Okay, so those are what? Operators. So when you are writing automation codes that has to do with calculations, for those in banking and all of that, there's a need for you to understand some of these calculations very well. And talking about float again, for people that deals in currency of euro cents or naira kobo, I don't think kobo exists for Nigeria anymore, does it? Anyway, so this is where you get to be very specific in your coding, where you don't make unnecessary mistake, otherwise you'll be in debt. Okay, so let's go to the next chapter. I wanted to talk about very fast. Those are the basics, and if you understand the basics, there is no need to waste time. All right, we're talking about input and output. We stay in computing, garbage in, garbage out. What you input is what you will get as your output. Anyway, there's something called the system class. So I talked about class the other time, but when it comes to certain kind of class in programming, some of them come directly from the Java library. So talking about the Java library, okay, I know there should be Java library here. So these files are part of the Java library, which is an extensive collection of classes. So the Java library is what we call a collection of classes. right? When you install your JDK, you will see them. So I think yesterday we went to a directory, maybe I think on a bin or something, you will see all those libraries, right? Now it's an extensive collection of what? Of libraries. They are already available, right? All you need to do is to do what? Is to call them. Now for the system class, all we need to do is to make use of the util scanner. Yeah, I was looking for it. So all you need to do is to do what? Is to make use of the util scanner. What that means is that inside of Java, there is a library called util. Inside of this util, there is a class called scanner. Listen that again. Inside of Java, there is a library called what? Util. Inside of this util, there is a class called scanner. So when you want to make use of scanner, which is the scanner class, you do what you say, import java.util.scanner. This scanner is what helps us to do what? To perform the input-output operation that we're about to talk about. So how does that work here? You come here right after your package and you say import java.util.scanner. All right, import java.util.scanner. Now we see that it is a little bit not bold here because we have not used this library, so it is still like this because it is not being used. But anyway, that is how you import it. Now you want to initialize your scanner. This is how you initialize your scanner. What this line means is that for scanner, which represents scanner here, okay, for scanner class, which is what? Scanner here, create an object called what? In, or an object variable called what? In this case, it is still what? A variable. But by the time you start calling it and using it in different methods, it becomes a what? An object. So we have a scanner in equals to new scanner. By using the word new, it means that you are creating scanner and you are making it accessible for input for the user. Okay, you are creating this scanner object, you are creating it and making it accessible. Now this is how you do what? You initialize your scanner. So you say for example, scanner, can call it anything, and I can even call it small letters, scanner equal to new scanner system.in. By the way, system.in, it is called the system.in by default. Like you can't change it. Look at it. Next, you have to initialize scanner. This line declares a scanner variable named in and creates a scanner that reads input from system.in. All right, it reads input from system.in, meaning that how will I explain that? It means that it reads input from the user, from whatever you type in at the console. We call it the system.in. That is what allows for the interaction between the input and the output. So what is this input? What is this output? Look at an example here. There's an example here. Can you see that this here says import java.util.scanner, and then you have your class name, and then you have your main method? Yeah, those are this is how it works. Now, talking about writing the main method, did I talk about parentheses the other time? Now, there is the opening parenthesis and the closing parenthesis, which represent a block of code. All right, this here represents what? A block of code. So if you put your opening parenthesis and you didn't put the closing, it means that you have not written anything. The method is not good. You're going to get an error. All right, so you have to do what? You have to close it. All right, So we have a block of code here. We have all of this within the main method. And this line here you see was what? Initialized. Your scanner here class was initialized. And then we have a print statement that is saying type something. It is asking a user to type something on the next line, right? So it's let's just see what we can do with that. So I have scanner equals to new scanner dot in. Then maybe I say I can say this type something. Type something. Now this for this I can then say string, because type something is going to be a string. So I will say string, input is good. String input equals to the scanner object which I declare here, right? The scanner dot, all right, dot next line. Now, what I'm trying finding line, no, next line. So I can say system.out.print. This is what you have typed. Now, let's explain what each of these line is doing. The first line we have already explained that here you are initializing scanner class. Okay. All right. So next is this line here is what you are taking input from the user. Like this will be printed to the console, and you are trying to say, okay, type in something. We put a space there. Okay, so I can make this print so that the user can type right in front of this type something. And then what is the input that this user we type? Say string input equal to scanner.next line. So this next line is allowing the user to do what? To type in, to input. There's also there's next int, there's next string, there is a, what is that again? That you can call, method that you can call on this scanner object. So we have system out of print line, you typed whatever you have input. So that is what scanner does. It allows for interaction, right? It allows the interaction between the system and the user. And that's the essence of the system.in when you do what? When you initialize your scanner. Remember, you also have to import it first before you are able to make use of it. So if I execute this here, so I will say type something. So here in front of it, I can say I am a professional. You typed I am a professional. So this allows to take in input from the user and then print it out, all right, to the system. Okay. That is what you should know about the scanner class. There are so many other things you should know, and you can go through all of this in order to get used to what the scanner class is and all of that. But since this is a test automation class, we will not go deep into it, right? We just need to understand, you need to touch a little in all of these areas. So that by the time, okay, before I go for that, look at this language element here. It looks like an onion bulb where we have the tiny thing called token, and then expression, and then statement, and then method. Okay, so this is what I was trying to explain the other time. That instead of your package, you have what? Class. Instead of your class, you have what? Method. And instead of your method, I think we stop there. Instead of your method, you have statements. What is statements? Let's look at it. So we said instead of your package, you have class. Instead of your class, you have method. Instead of your method, you have statement. All of this here are statements, right? We have some statement here, you have statement here, have statement here. Now, instead of your statement is called expression. Now, imagine, look at this statement here. What do you think is inside? This is an expression, right? It's an expression because uh there is a certain calculation or operation that is taking place within it. Look at it, 1 plus 2 is 3. So it's an expression, right? If you have something like this too, it's an expression within the print statement. And the last but not the least is what? A token. So the breakdown of an expression is what we call what? A token. And each of these elements, 10 without the modulus or 3 without the modulus, is a token. So we have an example here, java.util, scanner, nesting, how equals to, yeah, see this here is you can say system to how to print this, and then this is an expression that says hour multiplied by 60, and then hour on its own is what? It's a token. So yeah, this is how you understand the language elements, the Java language elements. Okay, so we'll be moving on from here. By the way, as an assignment, please look at the scanner bug. It's a very big thing in Java. The scanner bug. Please, it's going to be an homework for you. Go and read up on it. You are going to have a lot of homework anyway. So this is just, let's say this is number one homework. Okay, let's go to another one. We are moving fast, right? Yes, we are moving fast because we have other things to talk about that is still quite very large. So we have to move fast with Java programming. So we have method and testing. Method and testing. So how do you create methods? What forms? What makes up a method, right? I think I already explained a little of that earlier. That a method is a block of code. Let's see. Let me write the definition here. But we have written programs that only have one method named me. Yeah. In this chapter, we'll show you how to organize programs into multiple methods. Also, take a look at the math class. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So that is not okay. Now, look at this example here. We have a class called new line, and we have a method called new line, and another method called three line, and then a main method. Okay. Now we have looked at the main method. We have explained the concept of main method for you. Now, main method is like it's compulsory for your code execution. Like it's something you cannot just jump over. But talking about other methods like this and like this, how do you write your other methods in Java? Now we have an example here, and you can see that new line method, which is another method, is being called within another method. It's being called within another method. We will look into it and especially into flow of execution. So let's do something here. So far, we have a main method here. Yeah, we didn't write another method. Now we want to write another method. So I will call this other methods. Okay. So public